Hi, this is Big Guy DIY. So I'm going to do a little more work on the gunnels on this canoe before I polyurethane it. I want to show you a few things that I had done, or one thing I've definitely done since the last video I put up. So let me turn this around and show you. The sides here, I had a fixed ridge here because I was only going to router it on this side. I need to get rid of this ridge. So using a hand planer, I managed to run it along here, and now you can see the leading edge is much rounder, and it worked out really well, especially over my overlaps. Came out much smoother now. But yeah, I like it. So now we're going to take Helmsman, funny name, and we're going to apply this onto the gunnels right now. gorgeous this grain comes out once you put the varnish on, so you can kind of see the difference here. Change the view. See the difference here between the varnish and no varnish. Pretty nice. All right, 3 coats of varnish or polyurethane. We got the yoke done. Let's broaden this out. So yoke's all done. 2 handles. The seat supports or brackets. Now, work on next. These are the nose pieces that actually go on here like that. And there's 2 different pieces. You see here, one has a ridge. And this one here is just totally smooth, and this one's actually a different size. It's smaller than this one. So I'm going to go by this one. I think this one maybe just got rubbed down or rubbed out, or not sure. But I did is I traced it onto red oak, same thickness as that. We're going to cut it on the bandsaw, and I'm going to do this ridge again by using a table saw, and I'll show you how I do that. This part here, yeah, I know what I can do for that. It'll be done on a router table right there. So you can see it's kind of round. You see the profile. All right, so time to cut on the bandsaw. Because of the curve right here, I put short cuts in here and allow me to take my bandsaw cut through this. The bandsaw is a thick blade, so I can't twist it as much as, say, a jigsaw. There you go, first one cut. Okay, so we're gonna now cut these blanks to match this. This was cut on a table saw, and this is definitely cut on a router with the bit. So I'll show you what I'm gonna do to match this. This is the router bit. As you can see, it's rounded. Another way to show you. So here's the router bit. That's the type of router bit I'm using. These are just two different sizes. This one here has a larger wheel, so it allows the wood not to carry, oops. This has a larger wheel, as you can see in comparison. This just allows the wood from not going over the router bit, because it's not grooving down the center of a piece of wood, but it's actually trimming the edge, so that wheel goes against the edge. So I've already set this up, measuring it from here and looking at this leading edge here. I matched it up to my edge here already, so my height is set right now on the table for this. But before I cut this, I need to cut this. So what I did is, putting this on my table, I set my blade height and my angle. There you go. All right. So I'm all set now to cut these two sides, and then this I'm going to run on the router table and show you the end result. I'm going to run this blank piece through first to see how it comes out before I actually run my regular piece through. Hopefully you can see that. So let's run these through. Alright, so now we're going to do this on a router table. So the old and the new. So now it's just time to sand this whole thing down and install it on the boat. And that's how you make the cut. Okay, I showed you how I cut this earlier on the table, so I put just one coat of polyurethane on here. So now I'm going to fit that to the nose of the canoe. So I didn't want a large hangover on this, but I'm looking for these corners here to line up with this as I do this. And I'm going to take a pencil and mark underneath here on both sides along this wood, all the way up to the front, all the way up to the front here, so you can see my line, so I know where I'm going to drill from this side down, and what those screws will go into is this piece of wood on the inside here, the gunnel. Alright, the seat brackets are in. I got the hardware in for them. I just finished doing a couple layers of lacquer on the front seat. I got my yoke in. I got my dropped box of drill bits. Put all those stupid things back in. And I got the rear seat installed now. And this also has a fresh layer of lacquer. The back part, I already did this in regards to lining it up and drawing the lines. So the thing I have to remember is these screws up here when I tap the holes in. So we're going to go tap the holes on the drill press, that way I know they're nice and straight. Alright. Okay, it's time to finish up the nose pieces. that go on the canoe. As you saw earlier, I had marked underneath it as it sat on the nose of the canoe. I dragged a pencil underneath it to mark where my gunnels were inside the canoe. So I have to drill the holes with inside these lines. So one thing I did is I still have a piece of gunnel trim here I have left. So I'm going to place that on here and trace a line on this side, and then that'll give me the width I can work within for the screws, for the screw holes. So again, all right, so that's what we're going to do first. Drilling these holes will be 2 parts because I have to drill the hole from the back side, but then I have to countersink it from the top side so the screws will fit. The screws I'm using are stainless steel screws. As you can see, well, they're number 12s. Oh, number 10s, 1 1/4 length. Okay, again, with working with red oak, which is an extremely hard wood, which is a hard wood, you want to pre-drill all your holes because it will split. All right. All right. Now that my lines are made, I know I have to drill my holes within here, and these are the holes where the screws will come through into the gunnel. My bit is 11/64 for this. It'll be 6 screws total per tip, so 1, 2, 3 times 2, 6. All right, holes are drilled. Now we're going to do our countersink holes on this side. Now I just want to look at the depth of the screw to see how much is going in to my gunnel. So about 1/4 inch is going to go in. But since I'm going to countersink it, I'm going to have a 1/2 inch, which is, nice drop, which is perfect for this with it countersunk. So again, you could buy these countersinks at your Home Depot or Lowe's. And they're numbered as in 6, 8, 10, 12. So as you can see, the countersink. They usually have an attachment, which I haven't replaced yet, that this would slide into. So the attachment could flip around. You'd have a Phillips bit on one side and this on the other. But I'm going to cheat and just connect to that. Now to set my depth, I'm going to raise my platform, so when I come down I'll have a fixed depth. Alright. So here's what the hole looks like. I'll show you with a countersink. That's a countersink. And my screw head will sit flush inside. There you go, countersunk. The next thing I have to do is I have to sand these down so they're smooth. Both sides, sand it down slightly, and then install them. That's it. So the next shot you'll see is when I'm installing them on the canoe. Okay, I finished urethane, poly, whatever. The tips here, I'll go on the canoe right up there and right back there. Kind of funny because this firewood's red oak. What a good display, but see how beautiful the grain came out with this. Anyways, screws we're going to use to install it are number 10, 1 1/4. Get that 10 to show. 1 1/4. Now, as I said, this gunnel is also red oak. It's kiln dried, and the problem with it is it does split. So we're going to have to pre-drill the holes before the screws go in on this. And there is a slight little trick to doing this. Now some people will use a drill chart to see what size drill bit they need. The drill chart on this, where the screw won't go in, is 11/64. But I'm going to drop it down to a 5/32. The reason why is when I take my bit and hold it over the screw, I want to be able to see just my threads on each side of the drill bit. I don't want to see the neck of the screw whatsoever on the opposite side of the drill bit. So that way I know when I drill the hole, just these threads will be catching and the neck will not be expanding the size of the hole It's pre-drilled. Alright, so time for install. Now I labeled these in the back what they are because one side actually has screws in the inside, so I didn't want these holes to hit those screws. Where I got a drill here. And there we go. One down. Another one to go. The screws, the lengths are perfect. As I feel underneath here, there are no screws, tips sticking out all the way up to the nose. So it means anyone who's sitting in the back seat here, or back seat, or reaches underneath here, they're not going to get a screw into their toe or something. So let's knock off the front. Am I drilling all the way through the gunnel? Yes, I am. I will go back with a small polyurethane brush to touch the underside, just to seal those holes, because redwood is a very porous wood. That's why I use polyurethane. It kind of seals the wood up. But if I didn't seal it, any extra hole in the wood, water will get in there and it'll just bleed right through the wood everywhere. There we go. Again, I have no screws sticking out underneath. But since I drilled through the gunnels all the way through, I am going to touch underneath here and seal these holes up that I created. And that's it. We're all done. I cannot wait to use this. This is actually kind of exciting. I think tonight we'll probably do some fishing. That or just canoeing in general. This is Big Guy DIY Robert. Wanted to say thank you for watching. If you have any questions, definitely post them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them. And this was a fun project to do and have for my kids to use. Again, Big Guy DIY. Stay safe and be smart. Bye. Oh, total price of everything, including the screws, it was $80. Okay, give you an idea of the savings. The seats I had priced out to have these recaned, they were $6 an inch. So the bigger seat, which is the rear seat down here, that was $160. And this would be a little less, obviously. I said heck with it. When the cane breaks, I'm just gonna get the material that you use to do say a summer chair or something, and just weave it myself. Or I can buy a cane kit from Amazon, because this is just hammered in. It's just a what's the word I'm looking for? It's already a pre-mat. There's nothing here to weave. It's a pre-mat, and then they just have a piece here that's hammered in all the way around. So when this breaks, that's what I'll do. All right. Thanks again. See ya.